Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Esoteric Atlanta. I just got through with about a 90-minute conversation with Todd Roderick, the Confused Wanderer, where we are going to go through all three different type of humans on this planet, how they interact with each other. We are also going to be talking about Rh negative bloodlines, what the divine has to say about Rh negative bloodlines, channeling, and we're going to start to get into some of the Cassiopaean tea, the drama, if you will, with Laura Knight and the Cassiopaeans, to give you a little bit of an indication of what to expect going forward over on Todd's channel. This is a really exciting conversation. I loved doing this with Todd. I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. If you have not subscribed to Todd, links to his channel are down in the description box below, so please make sure that you are subscribed to him. If you're confused about anything that we're speaking about regarding the Law of One, if you go to his channel, The Confused Wanderer, look under playlist, the raw material, he has broken down different densities and foundations with the Law of One. I also want to take a moment to tell you guys that Todd is on Fusion Body Studio. We have a few classes with him. We have a strength training class with him. We have a yoga drills class with him. We also have a core class with him. He is also doing a Vedic chanting course over on Fusion Body Studio, and this Saturday, tomorrow, October 11th, at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we are doing a live Vedic chanting class over on Fusion Body Studio. So if you're part of the studio, you should have gotten your Zoom link, your invitation to do this class. If you have not, please reach out to Paula or me. We'll probably post the Zoom link over on our community post over on Fusion Body Saturday morning before we sign on, just to make sure everybody has the link. We also are going to be putting up a PDF of a Vedic chanting manual. So to have Todd go through it with you live so that you can use that manual on your own would be an awesome thing to experience it if you can. We're going to talk more about that at the end of the episode today, but all that information is down in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section or go over to Todd's channel and ask him there, and we will get into your question in a future episode. All right, you guys, enjoy. And before we get to our episode today, just a quick thank you to all of our patrons and our producers. If you would like to join our Patreon or our producer community and help support the work done here on Esoteric Atlanta, there is a link down in the description box below. This channel is solely crowd-funded through our amazing patrons and our producers and our sponsors. So you guys mean the world to us. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Esoteric Atlanta. Of course, my name is Bryce, and today I am joined by my partner in life. He's actually just on the other side of this wall, Todd. I would say how you doing today, but we woke up this morning together, so
yeah, we're doing pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, Robbie's in here with me. Hopefully you guys do not hear the dryer going off in the background. Todd was a little concerned about that when we started, so we got the dryer going, but I don't think you can hear it. So you guys, before we get started, please make sure that you are subscribed to Todd over at The Confused Wanderer. You're growing. You're almost at 500 subscribers.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad at all. And you guys know I've talked a lot about the Law of One. That comes from Todd. And so he is actually, I think I hear the dryer, but that's okay. That's okay, you guys. We're in our house. I don't know if that's coming from me hearing it or from your recording, but whatever, it's fine. You'll probably hear Robbie cleaning himself, which drives Todd crazy, but he might be cleaning himself too, and he's in the room with me. But Todd is the one that brought the Law of One to my life. I brought it into y'all's life. I've gotten, Todd, I've gotten so many emails from people talking about how the Law of One has changed their life and their perspective about these times that we're living in. And that all that credit goes to Todd. So he's got playlist here, he's got the raw material, and he's going to be going into the Cassiopaeans. And you've just recently released a video on the three types of humans
Yeah.
on the planet right now. And I heard you edit that for days before you actually put it
No,
on.
that only took me 2 days.
He keeps laughing because Todd knows how long it takes to edit videos because he's seen me edit videos for 5 years now, but I don't think you actually realized how tedious editing a video is until you had to do it yourself, did you?
I did not. No.
It's
And
a
recording
full-time job.
videos. Not just editing, but recording.
And researching,
taking notes, and researching, taking notes. Even though I know the material, pretty well, it's still, you have to come up with an outline and in order to explain things, and the hardest part is really distilling this down and simplifying it as best as possible, and then giving the information as clearly as possible in an ordered fashion where people can where people can easily understand themselves what it is that I'm trying to talk about. And because they're for a lot, they're new concepts, and it takes a while to really grasp all the intricacies of the material. So yeah.
But it has helped a lot. It's helped me. It's helped a lot of people in this time of uncertainty in our world. Like there's these, stories of these white hats and these black hats and all these things that, conspiracies that we don't know for sure is going on. We know the world is topsy-turvy, but one thing the Law of One helped me with was understanding where I was being manipulated, even on the good side, what I thought was the good side, that there was obviously a lot of duplicitous stuff going on that wasn't necessarily for the highest good. It was more service to self. And I know we're going to be talking a lot more. I know Catherine wants to do a video with us on things like wishful thinking, so we'll save that for with Catherine, because there's so much going into service to self that we don't even think about sometimes, that really can derail us on our spiritual journey. And it's so funny, you guys. I just finished, I'm still editing it for Monday, going through the Toronto protocols, and they actually talked a lot about getting people in a place of entitlement, that was part of the grand plan, was to put people in a place of entitlement, how dare you tell me my imagination isn't real, or
right.
It kind of mirrors the Law of One. But with that being said, we're going to do more videos on that stuff because it's a huge concept, it's a huge topic to talk about. But you just released a video about the three types of humans on the planet right now. And so guys, please go watch the video. But I wanted to ask you, Todd, what are the three types of humans on the planet right now?
Well, the first type of human, 50% of the population are souled humans.
SOULED, not SOLD.
Right.
As a soul.
Souled humans. And 98% of those souled humans are what could be considered native third density people, meaning that they're within their third density cycle, looking to graduate into fourth density, whether that be service to self or service to others. And when I say souled, means that they have a complete mind, body, spirit complex. That's what it means to be souled.
You have your upper chakras.
Right. And so, it could be their first third density cycle, could be their second third density cycle, because if you don't graduate, if you don't polarize in the direction of either service to self or service to others, then you have to sort of redo the grade, so to speak. So you have to redo the 75,000 year cycle, third density cycle of choice. And so 50% of the population is souled. 98% of those souled people are going through their native third density cycle. And, for those native third density people, life is pretty straightforward. They don't deal with a lot outside of just the normal everyday dynamics of life. Their karmas that they've created through the 75,000 year cycle, which we're towards the end of this 75,000 year third density cycle, which is why things are getting so crazy. That's a normal part of a third density cycle. So, very, very simple life. And it's meant to be that way because the only objective within third density for native third density people is to make a choice through your actions, whether you're going to love the creator in others and serve that creator in others, or love that creator within yourself and serve the self. And that is going to determine where you go during your fourth density cycle. So pretty straightforward. Now, there is the other 2% of the souled people, which are called wanderers. Wanderers are people that have come in, souls that have come in from a higher density, mostly sixth density, sometimes fifth density. And they're here not because of love and light.
Well, let's pause. Can we pause there for a second? I was going to bring that up because we know a lot of forums that talk, and that's where you get the title of your channel from, the Confused Wanderer.
Right.
Wanderers don't have like a magical ability to like remember their wanderers. They come in, they go through the veil of amnesia just like everybody else. And so
Right.
onset, they don't feel more powerful, but they do have certain characteristics. But there's these we see all these forms of the law of one, and first of all, everyone thinks they're a fucking wanderer. And being a wanderer is not something to aspire to be. It's the most difficult path to be on. Mm-hmm. Life is not fair for wanderers, and we'll get into that more. But we also see this conspiracy that wanderers, and this always kind of was weird to me, and we've gotten clarification on it because of my yoga studies, like that wanderers are coming in to help out, when in reality, a wanderer is so far removed from third density that they know that all the friction on third density is necessary. So they're not here to help. They're not here to interrupt anybody's karma, because that's not what a service to others. It's like when we summon spirits, right? Like the service to self, fourth density is all too willing to come in and bedazzle us with lights and glitter and bling bling and try to get us off course. But the good spirits, fourth density service to others, really don't appear to us unless like they are desperately called on, because they don't want to interrupt our own free will. And so I want to clarify that wanderers do not come back. They don't drop down from sixth density to third to like save a planet.
Right. They inherently don't come to help within the third density cycle. Wanderers are here to resolve their karmas left over from their third density cycle. Once you get to sixth density, it's a density of not only wisdom, but the wisdom of love and the wisdom of tough love, because fourth density is the density of love. Fifth density is the density of wisdom. By the time you make it to sixth density, you have a full understanding of what love and wisdom mean. And so you merge those. And it's a density where you can no longer be polarized service to others or service to self. There are both service to others and service to self. But when you get to sixth, it's a merging of that, and you have such a deep understanding that there is no longer that service to others, service to self distortion there, that polarity there.
Well, let's talk about, because I think people oftentimes too, that's something that you've talked to me about, wanderers. First of all, wanderers can seem a little bit naive at times, even though they're kind of like have that old soul about them. They can be, because they're not used to being in third density, so they're not used to the politics of third. But I think people think of wanderers, Todd, as being like love and light, and I'm just going to be so sweet. But most wanderers can actually be kind of mean sometimes.
Oh, they're very rough. They can be very rough around the edges for sure. A little jaded
and abrasive.
But they also at the same time tend to be pretty humble and empathetic, and that gets them into trouble a lot. And that makes them the perfect target for the other type of person found here. And we could get back to talking about wanderers in a second. Let's jump into the wanderer's nemesis, and that's an organic portal. And the organic portal doesn't come from the raw material. There's one or two sentences within a paragraph that actually I found recently about an organic portal, and it is not named that, but if you understand, if you've studied what an organic portal is, and you've studied the law of one, that one quote stands out. Yeah, because that one quote talks about how there is a type of person that's a natural channeler for service to self, and not the kind of channeler you would think, not the kind of channeler that would use a spirit board or the same kind of channeling that the raw material did, which was sort of trance channeling in a sense, but just picking up. They're like an antenna for the service to self. But an organic portal is a soul, if you want to call it that. It's not really a soul. It's only a mind-body complex. So this person is missing their upper three chakras, their upper three energy centers. And it's a first density being that's been tricked into entering into a human body within the third density cycle.
By a Lizzie, right? The fourth density negative.
By the fourth density service to self. It's the fourth density service to self's way of making more of service to self individuals. If it wasn't for organic portals, service to self would eventually die out. And so that's one way that they're able to create. They're like, the organic portals are like the children, the third density children of service to self.
So
density.
Can we kind of put this into like a picture format? Like, so first density would be like minerals, right? Rocks.
Right. So rocks, water. Yeah.
So first density, we've all been there. We've all been first density. We move up. They have basically their lower chakras. And
within that, there's the spark of the creator.
Right.
Yeah.
But on the actual line of evolution and consciousness, they would then evolve into second density, which is animal life, and they would evolve through that, where they, once an animal's like in your home, they're developing their upper chakras, so then go into third density. So they're taking the long road to get down the path of consciousness. So we have like a rock or a mineral just hanging out, and a Lizzie, a fourth density negative, comes up and says, "Hey, you want to leapfrog? You want to go ahead and just skip? I can do that for you. I can get you to skip."
Right.
And these people say yeah, or these entities say yes, and so they leapfrog over second and do a full cycle in third, and they don't have their upper chakras, which is interesting, Todd, because they just came out with that study like a year or so ago, where 50% of the population does not have an internal dialogue.
Right.
That's an organic portal, isn't it?
Right. Supposedly that's an organic portal, right? And so they're about as spiritual or spiritually aware as a rock.
Yeah.
Even though they're in a physical body. That's not to say that they're not smart. They can be very smart and very clever. They can travel. They can travel up the ranks within corporations. They can become popular spiritual leaders because they're really good at regurgitating material.
And
they can seem, they're very convincing. They can seem as though they understand spiritual principles, but at a deeper level, they can't, and it's impossible. They have zero intuition, because think about the upper centers would be where intuition lies, where spiritual understanding lies. Right. Yeah. And so, they can easily fool people. But the thing about it is they're attracted because they have to energize themselves. And so they energize themselves through connecting to wanderers. That's where they get their juice from.
So they're not doing this like even though organic portals can be very intellectually smart, they're kind of like human stupid because they don't have discernment, they don't have internal dialogue. And so they're
Right.
really good at like regurgitating and memorizing. And we know that, I talk a lot about how so many people on the internet think they're channeling, but they're literally just using their imagination. And
Right.
somebody who has discernment and would be able to reflect on that, like, am I getting this? Is this my mind playing tricks on me? An organic portal's not going to do that. And they can
Right.
sell it. And they're also not going to be the type of people that are like shadow banned on YouTube because they're doing the biddings of the Lizzies, the dark fourth density dark entities, because they're so convincing. They can be very charismatic. They're all organic portals are narcissists, but not all narcissists are organic portals. Some
Right.
narcissists are distressed soul people.
Right.
So they have that charisma. And so why, we know that without our body, like entities from another realm might see us as light, right? Like they see the Emerald Tablets speak about this as well. And they can read the light, like how bright somebody's energy points are.
Right.
Something we've just learned, Todd, is that for wanderers, the reason why they plug themselves into wanderers is even though a wanderer might not know that he or she is a wanderer, the entities on the other side can tell who a wanderer is because they don't just light up with their chakras. They have the siddhi lights as well, which make them look kind of like a Christmas tree.
Right.
You can see them in the dark, which people talk about that with like people who are very psychic, that they're like a glowing light in the dark for these disincarnate spirits. And so they literally, wanderers literally have more energy within their blood, within their physical body.
Right, but the organic portals don't necessarily see that; they just sense that. But also, going back to where in the raw material they talk about that they're natural channelers, they're not consciously channeling. They just the service itself, the fourth density service itself, have a direct link within them, and
they
so
just
they
whisper to them to do something.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can just suggest the little directions that they can make to enter into the life of a wanderer, or they're like insects to a light, and so they would naturally sort of gravitate. They could feel that energy that a wanderer gives off, and also they can see that a wanderer has a lot of creativity. Yeah, they have a lot of novel ideas, and so they would sense that. And they would want to plug into that because that's a perfect opportunity for them to steal those ideas and take them on as their own. And then at a certain point, they could be triggered with just a little suggestion by their overlords, the service to self, fourth density overlords, to then try to destroy the reputation of the wanderer. Yeah, and that plays out over and over again. And the thing about wanderers is they can feel this need that those organic portals come into their life with. And those organic portals sort of plug into the wanderer and start to feed. And the wanderer senses this needy person, or that neediness could come across as enthusiasm. Seems like this organic portal really wants to support the wanderer in their path. And for a while that could be true. But there will come a time where either the wanderer starts to realize that this person isn't this organic portal, or this person in general. You don't have to label people as organic portals, but this person is starting to maybe push some boundaries, or they start to act out when the wanderer creates some boundaries. Or what happens a lot of the time is that the organic portals will get so deep in their feeding on the energy of the wanderer that the wanderer just gets completely drained. Yeah, and they'll in a sense sort of lose their spark. And at that point, the organic portal will then decide to leave. And usually when they leave, they'll try to take all that person's material. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever profession that they're in, whatever hobby that they're in, whatever the organic portal was there to feed off of, of that wanderer, they'll try to take that with them, so then they can go forward and use that thing that the wanderer created. The organic portal will then try to act as though that was their own.
Do you remember when someone I used to film with, Todd, wrote a book?
Yeah.
A book of literally all my material, like things I had
Right.
said verbatim.
Yeah.
And inspired me.
Right. Yeah. Mimicking a spiritual adept. Yeah, which they love to do, and then taking someone's material like yours and then acting as though it was their own, and acting as though, if anyone tried to call them out on it, they say, no, I introduced Bryce to that. Oh, I gave her all that material. And that happens over and over again.
All the
right.
time.
Yeah. And so the organic portals aren't really interested in the native souled third density people. They really sort of leave them alone. Or they could end up marrying one. They could be in a relationship with one, but they're not going to go through the same antics as they would with a wanderer.
And this is all unconscious, right? Like they're not the organic.
Right. Yeah. No, this is all totally unconscious.
So and I wanted to ask you about that too, because we see, I've covered bloodlines on my channel before, and we hear people talk about like the corrupt bloodlines, but we've learned that there isn't really a blood type that's the corrupt or the bad bloodline. It's the organic portals. They're the corrupt bloodline. So like so we've also learned, Todd, that two souled people can only have souled people, and two organic portals can only have an organic portal. But if you have an organic portal and a souled person, it's a toss-up as to what their baby is going to be.
It works something like that.
Unless there's twins, right? Whenever
they say, twins. I mean, there can be. I think there's stuff that depends on that because a family line of a mix of wanderers and souled people, if one of the souled people within that line ends up polarizing service to self, they can bring in organic portals. But if that family line are all service to others, they've all polarized service to others, there's no room for an organic portal to come in. So it has to be someone within the family, whether it be, a family of a lot of wanderers or a family of just native third density souled people. If someone within that line corrupts it through service to self, that is creating an opening. That's like giving consent to allowing an organic portal. And now something to understand is that just because 50% of the people on the planet are organic portals doesn't mean that 50% of the people within your life are organic portals.
Unless you're a wanderer.
Right, unless you're a wanderer. Exactly. But even for a wanderer, it doesn't mean that 50% of the people you encounter in your day are organic portals. You can't think of it like that, because you bring your energy, not to sound too new agey, but your energy does bring people into your orbit. Yeah. But all it takes is one organic portal to screw up the whole thing, to throw you off your path, because that's another thing they're trying to do, is they're trying to throw the wanderer off their path, because a wanderer is subjected to the veil just like everyone else, although a wanderer would have a little bit more potential of sort of pushing through that veil at times, probably due to the siddhis that they come with. But still, it just takes one organic portal to throw a wanderer off their path. And so what I was trying to explain, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. So not only are the organic portals trying to feed off the wanderers, they're also trying to keep the wanderer from remembering their life path, what they came here for. Because, the law of confusion, you come in with the veil, and a wanderer could go through most of their life not even realizing what it is they came here for, because their head is spinning, because so many organic portals are coming in and out, confusing them throwing them off of their path. And then once they're done with a lifetime, they look back and realize in between lifetimes, like, I didn't accomplish anything because I was constantly trying to clean up, behind this organic portal attack. And so
let's clarify that too with lifetimes, because we were under the impression for a while that a wanderer will just pop into like one life and then leave again. But we've been corrected that when a wanderer agrees to come back for whatever reason, I volunteer as tribute. Hold on, Ravi wants to come see you. He's scratching the door.
Yeah, I heard that.
All right, go see Daddy. Go see Daddy. All right, he's coming your way.
All right.
So we were under the impression that wanderers like pop in for a life and then leave again, but that's not the case. When a wanderer decides to come back, make the really brave decision to come back, wanderers are very brave, souled people, very brave to come back. They have to go through the whole cycle, the whole 75,000 year cycle.
Right. There's no way to pop in and pop out. And it's the same thing for everyone.
Yeah.
Whether you're organic portal, a native third density, or a wanderer, you have to go through the whole 75,000 year cycle pretty much to the end, even if you've already polarized.
Yeah. Well, and same for organic portals. But the thing about people might be wondering, like, what's the point of an organic portal? Really, they don't actually get to leapfrog. That's the trick. After they finish this third density cycle, they have to go back to first density and finish. They have to go back to being a rock and go back through second density cycles. So with that being said, if they've been tricked into coming to third density thinking they get to skip it, they're being used by the Lizzies, the fourth density service to self, specifically to uproot 2% of the population, which is wanderers.
Right. And also, well, not just that, also, through the first density organic portals cycle, they're being imprinted with a propensity towards the service to self path. That's the kicker here. So I think that's the main.
They're more likely to polarize service to self.
Exactly. They have that inclination that's grounded into their energetic system to then, when they come around and start their native third density cycle, they're more likely to move along the service to self path. So I think that's the main two purposes of an organic portal, is to imprint service to self.
They're like the babies. Babies.
Yes, right. Yeah. So the imprint service to self on their energetic system, and also to attack the wanderers during third.
And this is because service to self can't create themselves. And so they look for sources of life force to give them nutrients. And they're not going for souled people. They want the wanderers, because the wanderers are dense with nutrients when it comes to light. Right?
Yeah. And another thing is fourth density service itself are using organic portals. That's another reason why they're called organic portals, not only because they're natural channelers, not just because organic portals are natural channelers of the fourth density service itself, but also the reason why they call them organic portals is because that's how the fourth density service itself use them as a portal to gain polarization. So they're pulling the fourth density service itself are able to pull polarization from third into fourth using their tools, which are the organic portals, because it's a game of polarization for the service to self. Service to others, they're not ambitious about polarizing more greatly, but for service to self, it's all about this power struggle. Think about, it's the quintessential power pyramid that they're acting out in within fourth density service to self, but also to some extent third density service to self. Those trying to polarize look at it like that. Person at the top has the most power wins, and so they are constantly fighting within each other, within themselves in fourth density service to self, but also they're using They're using the polarization that they're harvesting from third density using the organic portals.
It's dog eat dog for them.
Right, it's dog eat dog, and they have this instrument that they are able to gain more power and influence within their own realm of fourth using the organic portal within third. Because as they compromise the wanderers in third, that gives them so much more polarization within fourth. Because remember, because the veil in third is what potentiates third density and allows for so much greater amount of polarization.
So basically we have, as far as like everyday human life, and I think this is an important episode for our audience, because I think if you're watching this, you definitely are at least sold if you're following all along, because you said that.
Unless you're an organic portal and you're taking notes.
I know, right?
to write your next book. To write your next book.
I know,
off
right?
Off the backs of others. Yeah, but anyway, most people watching this would be sold.
And you said that to me when we first started dating. You introduced me to the law of one. You said you recognized, because it just hit me right away. I was like, oh, that makes sense. So, and I think for most of our audience, like especially on Esoteric Atlanta for 5 years, if you're still following, I mean, so many people, Todd, have like contacted me, thanking me for introducing them to this material. It's really helped them, which is super important, because I think it helps you see the world from a very different perspective. And so we got these three people like walking around in the world right now. They all living in three different realities, right? The organic portal is very smart, but also very dumb. They're just kind of bopping around, not really having much, they're the people that go to bed at night without reliving everything they said that day, because there's no internal dialogue. They're just doing their jobs, living their life, very vapid, very smart, but very vapid, fucking with wanderers. They don't even know that's what they're doing half the time. They're being puppeted by the Lizzies. Then you've got the souled people. And this is what I wanted to talk about too, because going through this with you and really diving deep to prepare for your channel and doing even more work has been liberating, but also been kind of depressing to look at some realities of what's happening between souled people and wanderers. Both souled, one is just come down and one is living their first experience, both having the same life cycle. So when we look at like souled people, they're just here to make a choice, whether they're going to go service to self or service to others. They're making their choice through their actions in life, their intentions in life. And the rules are pretty simple for them. If they work hard, they're going to do well. If they have some karma, they'll get it figured out. They could have some hard stuff happening every now and again, but nothing super major.
And that's being triggered by their past karmas, or the karmas that they're creating within this lifetime. They're not getting spiritually attacked by fourth density service to self, whether it be directly from fourth density service to self or through organic portals. Because they're in a sense, lucky for them, they're an afterthought in that sense.
The Lizzies aren't paying much mind to them. They're targeting the wanderers. And so this is what's hard, Todd, because with a wanderer, and hopefully this will help people, someone watching right now, give you some peace of mind. You could work your ass off doing everything right and not be successful. Have forces against you that are not seen by others, simply because you're a wanderer and you don't even know it. And so I wanted to talk about that, because I feel like so I feel like in that respect, Todd, even the souled people can cause harm to a wanderer without even realizing it, and do the bit of the Lizzies by causing that wanderer hard, because they don't realize what that wanderer is actually going through, the shit that wanderer they could never handle. And so do we want to talk a little bit about that to give people some relief if they need it? You're not crazy?
Talking to other wanderers, is that what you're intending to do? Or
I guess we can use my life as an example. If we the shit that I've been through since we've been together, like it's you've witnessed it, like you've seen physical attacks, right?
It's constant. Wanderers are considered like the super soldiers. They came here for, in a sense, to fight a battle and from the very beginning of life up to the very end, it's going to be
Not
a
just
battle.
life, it's the full cycle. It's the 75,000 years, right?
Exactly right. Yeah, and I think maybe it's more important to understand, because there's something I wanted to talk about with wanderers, is that how brave you would have to be to come back, because there's nothing guaranteeing that a wanderer is going to make it out.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that a wanderer could get so thrown off their path and so downtrodden that they act out in a very distressed way, and they could start to exhibit service to self. And if a wanderer acts out in that way enough through the 75,000 year cycle, they can depolarize.
Yeah.
Because all service, all sixth density wanderers are going to come in as service to others. Mm-hmm. That's just their natural state. Even though they're coming from a place of non-polarity, when they come back into third density, they come back fully polarized service to others. But lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of being attacked repeatedly by organic portals can sort of could potentially beat a wanderer down. And the ultimate goal of a fourth density service to self through attacks by both fourth density service to self and organic portals is to completely depolarize
a wanderer
and make them polarize service to self. And what that would mean is that wanderer would have to then go to fourth density after their third density wandering cycle. They would get into fourth density service to self. They would have to move through all of fourth density service to self and polarize enough, gain enough power within fourth density service to self to be able to then make the choice of flipping it. And so then, after possibly 1,000,000 years or more in fourth density service to self, then they would have to go into fifth density, process all that had happened to be able to make it back to their native sixth density. And so this 75,000 year little weekend wellness retreat for a sixth density wanderer, because literally like 75,000 years coming from sixth density is literally like a weekend. Yeah. But still, a wanderer could come here to third, depolarize, end up in fourth density service to self. Millions of years later, it would take them to pop back into sixth.
Yeah.
It's like, honey, I thought you were just going out for milk. When you get back and say, I thought I was too.
Well, I kind of want to, and we can not go as far depending on your comfort level. I know this is something you're going to bring up on your channel eventually.
Yeah.
Being a little vulnerable, I got to a place where I was about to literally just end it all, because I have been physically, you've seen me get absolutely obliterated physically, just out of nowhere, bruises all over me.
Yeah.
I tell this story a lot, where I was getting out of the shower, I had my back to you, and you watched 3 slashes just go across my back. You've seen me be assaulted in the middle of the night. You've seen this happen to me over and over and over again. And you've seen me get messed with, my money being stolen. It's constant. My work being stolen, constant. It's relentless, isn't it? Absolutely relentless.
Yeah.
And it got to a point a few months back where you had, because of your interest in the Cassiopaeans, you had gotten a spirit board.
Yeah.
But you didn't want it. We kind of sat there. And I got to the point where I was literally, when you're attacked this much and you're saying, I don't consent, stop it. And it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
I begged you to pull out this board one day. And I said, look, can we just please try this? Yeah. And what has happened for you and me I'm going to get emotional, has been like life changing.
Uh-huh.
And it's
And
fun.
it's not all love and light.
It's not all love and light. We are in communication with a fourth density service to others named LU, which is a social memory complex. And I know you're going to be putting more stuff about Lu up on your channel eventually after we get through a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is I have a spirit box recording, the Frank box recording I let you listen from like 2010, where Lu came through trying to talk to me. So this has been an entity that has been following me for a while. We learned that I have been attacked.
Well, it's not an entity, it's a social memory complex. Let's not, we got to make sure we're clear about that.
I'm not going to even really get into that right now. That we can get into later.
At the end of the day, it's like cosmic therapy is what it is. When you get in touch with a social memory complex like Lu, they immediately go to work on getting you into a place of balance in all different areas of your life. And and at first just sort of turns things upside down for a while. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, in our conversations, like they won't even talk to us about conspiracies.
Absolutely not. I get hung up on sometimes.
We're talking and Todd went to ask this conspiratorial question and he just goes, goodbye. And then one time you're asking a question and slowly just went, no. And they're funny too. They're really funny, aren't they? They're
absolutely really hilarious. It's had me in tears. It's been so funny.
We were talking about intimacy once, about like intimacy with adults, and we were asking about, because the Cassiopaeans had said all intimacy is service to self. We were asking Lu that. Lu was like, absolutely not. Intimacy between two service to others people creates life. But if it's an organic portal or service to self, and the service to others, that's feeding the Lizzies. And we were talking about some of your exes, and you're like, so I basically boinked Lizzie's, and Lu just goes, ew. But we learned a lot, and I think the information that Luke, and we've already filmed some of it. We've practiced filming some of it for people to see eventually, and there are definitely some, and it gave me solace. It scared me a little too, because I realized the stuff that I've been through, you've been through, it's not going to stop. Like, it's going to continue until the day that we die, because we are wanderers. But Todd, they gave some, Lu has given some characteristics of wanderers. You want to talk about some of the physical characteristics of a wanderer?
Yeah, I guess we could get into that. I was surprised that you jumped into this.
I'm feeling the spirit. I think Lu's with me.
Yeah, it could be. Well, one of the things that really surprised me is the blood type, and that to be a wanderer, you have to be Rh negative, and there's no other way around it. Not that every Rh negative blood type is a wanderer, but a wanderer can only inhabit a body with Rh negative blood, and that an organic portal cannot inhabit a body that's Rh negative, because it would just destroy. There's too much energy there, and it would just destroy the organic portal. And then if a wanderer, would try to enter, which they never would, but if a wanderer tried to enter a body with Rh positive blood, they would just implode, because it wouldn't be able to hold and move the energy around that a wanderer holds. And so if anyone had a question whether or not they're a wanderer, the first step would be to check your blood type. And then, there's the wanderers that have the extra organs or vertebra. And so from what I understand, if you have an extra vertebra and you're Rh negative, just go ahead and call yourself a wanderer, because there's no other way around it there.
That's me.
But, yeah, right. And so, that was one thing we came to understand. And that, about channeling, is that channeling is a siddhi, and wanderers are the only, not the only ones, okay, but for the most part, a
It's
wanderer is the
naturally-
only one that can actually channel. But with that being said, if a wanderer channels with a souled person, whether service to self, service to others, the souled person can eventually develop that siddhi through the wanderer. So it's like the wanderer is able to give the souled person access to that siddhi. It's like they can wake up that siddhi in someone, and then the souled person could then channel higher density social memory complexes or or higher density service to self being. And they don't, that's the thing, that's the difference here, is that when you channel service to others, higher density beings, they come to you within a social memory complex. So you're not just talking to one entity, you're talking to millions at the same time.
Yeah.
Coming as one individual, if you want to say that.
And
but I don't think it's,
they don't tell us to do anything harmful. A lot of times they say, as you wish, or learn, like you decide, they'll, like Lou will give us like hints of things to do to help us. And when we ask more detailed questions, he says, learn. He'll say, learn. Like you have to figure this out. And that's where we got your title from, because one time he said, hello, my confused little wonder. Or what did he call you? My favorite little confused little wonder or something?
my favorite little confused wanderers.
And that's what we called Todd. That's why Todd titled his channel that, because, and that's the thing. And I want to, you talk about these Law of One boards like on Reddit that are just full of organic portals, basically.
Right.
And they're talking about how great they are being wanderers. And for me, I wish I wasn't. I wish I was a souled person. It's fucking hard. This is
you'd wish you were just a native third density souled person. Right.
This is tough. And part of me, Todd, was like, do I tell people what I know? But I think part of it for me is that because this is the situation that I'm in, that you're also in, you're also a wanderer. I'm O negative, you're A negative. I'm the one that has, I'm just going to rub it in. What does Lou say all the time?
What? No, wait a second. Oh, that Bryce Sear.
Bryce Sear.
I mean, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Brian, at the end of the day, I've come to realize that Bryce is the channeler, not me. I'm just there for a little extra energy and support.
I think I've been so broken and so beaten down by life that Luke says that just to remind, like, you have this power. And I think I've decided to talk to you about it on the show today, because I feel like if I just say it out loud and I start talking about it, it takes my power back from those that are intentionally targeting me. Because I see you, I know what I am, I know what you are. And I know that, we talk about this too, Todd. I don't know if you want to get into more detail, but especially O negative, which is what I am, in the establishment, which is totally service to self, they love RH negatives. So they love wanderers. They want to inhabit wanderers entrap wanderers within their system. Do we want to explain more about that? Is it because of the siddhis, or what we've learned?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other topic, and we should do a separate show on that, and why they want to, why RH negative, or why wanderers are so important. And it does come down to the siddhis and how they can use wanderers to do many different things, and they have ways to utilize their siddhis. And from what I understand, there are many siddhis that are just hard to define. They come up in many different ways, and the siddhis, these spiritual powers, they develop on their own through the situations that wanderers find themselves within. So you're
not born knowing that you have these abilities.
That?
You're not born as a wanderer knowing you have these abilities. They get kind of lit. They get like turned on through situations, right. And usually these situations are extremely traumatic. We can save that. We can talk about like the cloning process and the bilocating.
Right, and it's funny, like the siddhis that I've developed with just teaching yoga. One that people that I just sort of brush off, that people talk about all the time, is that I could have a room full of people and I could have my back to everyone working with someone else, and I could turn around and know where everyone is in the practice and who skipped a pose. And people are always asking, "Oh my God, how do you do that? How do you know when someone like?" And it could be like 10 minutes later, and I could turn around and say, "Oh, you didn't do. You should go back and do that." And that's like an example. The catching people when they skip a pose, Siddhi, whatever. What would that be in Sanskrit? But you take it for granted. It's just thing. And I would even try to figure years ago, I would try to figure out, how do I do that? Oh man, I'm just good at timing. I know how long it takes to get to one point to the next, but really it's just this rudimentary siddhi that wanderers develop. And then there's like the major ones, bilocating.
And that's not what people think it is. I think we should.
Oh, we got a whole story about that. I don't know if we should get into that, but that was one of the craziest.
We need to probably, I would even suggest doing that because Catherine wants to do more of this with us, because that one's a big one. I think that needs the bilocation so cloning is not what people think it is. And we need to be very careful about this. And so, and when we found this out, we're like, that makes absolute sense, what they're saying. And so that is why the elite try to find RH negatives, because RH negatives are definitely sold, and they could potentially be wanderers, and they want to utilize that power, especially if you have, like me, have an extra vertebrae, I have a urinary tube, I have all the side effects of this. There was something else I wanted to ask you too, and now I can't even remember what it was, Todd.
Was it about siddhis?
No, because I think we need to again do a separate video about that.
Because now that we've gotten into this part about Lou and channeling, there's the whole show.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Let's talk about channeling for a second, because this is actually quite comical. We see all of these videos where people like light these candles and do this crazy ritual, and it's not like that at all, is it? And I had said to you before we started talking to Lou, Paula at Fusion Body, my partner, her friend was on with us one day, not filming, and her friend does like healing. She was like, Bryce, you're being like, you're channeling. Like you don't even realize you're channeling. And I kind of brushed it off. And then when we started talking to Lou confirmed that. Channeling is not what people think it is. There's no pomp and circumstance. There's no
ritual. There's no lighting candles. Like literally, we could be eating Cheetos with each of us having one hand on the board and just having conversations between Bryce and I, and then Lou will jump in and we'll just be having conversations, and it could just be like in the middle of our kitchen. On the kitchen table with, just throwing it out. And, you could be in a good place. You could be in a bad place. You could be in a good mood, bad mood, be exhausted, whatever. And it always comes through.
Always.
And there's no pomp and circumstance. You don't have to get into this meditative state, but you do have to ask the right questions at the very beginning to make sure that we have the right Lou on the board, because you have to confirm. You have to ask the very beginning when the planchette starts to move. You have to confirm who it is that you're talking to. Yeah.
The first time we sat at the board, we immediately got a Lizzie, and I was kind of freaking out, and Todd, you're like, no, let's keep talking to it. Let's keep talking to it. And we had to ask the right questions. I had known that from my friend Cindy. So we ask, are you service to others? And that's one thing Lou has told us. The Lizzies don't lie. They don't lie. The only people who lie are humans. Lizzies can't, because when you don't have the veil, you can't lie. They can manipulate, but they don't lie. And so if you ask, are you service to others? It can't say yes when it's not. Right. And another thing to ask is, are you here for unconditional love? Because that helps with disincarnate spirits as well. And then the Lizzie tried to pop back in once to be your grandmother.
Right.
And I said, "Are you Francis?" No. And then I asked the other one, no. But they wanted you to believe that so you have to, if you consent to believing it's a good spirit, it'll stay and talk to you. That's one thing we've learned. So with Lou, and Lou said, what did Lou say? Like that was a tester. Like they let the Lizzie speak to us first to make sure that we
Right.
were ready to start
Right.
talking to Lou.
And ever since that first couple days, we've never had anyone else show up other than Lou. And immediately, and we go through every single time, you go through the same questions of assurance to make sure that it is who you're talking to, and then you can move forward. And then, there's a certain personality that comes through the board.
They're
The way that they are absolutely hysterical.
They're not sitting there like light and love, like
cussing and joking around, and they don't want you to be serious. They want you to absolutely, you'll get called out for this too, absolutely be yourself, be fully in your body, be yourself with all the flaws and everything. And that's what makes it, they actually say, that's what makes it possible. That's why you're able to do this. That's why you're able to channel, is because we're so in our bodies through the exercise and everything that we do.
Grounded us, because you have to be in your body.
It's not, yeah.
Your body. I am not, when we're on the board, I am not anywhere else. I'm not into trance. I remember everything. I could stop it at any point.
You don't get worn out.
Nope, I don't get tired. I feel, the funny thing is we learned that they, in fourth density, they love music. Aiko, that song, my grandma, that's like one of their favorite songs. They love music. So Todd, I have to tell this really funny story about, they see everything too. They don't really judge us, but they'll help us. We were driving home. I was driving. We were driving from the Sarasota County area up to Lake City, Florida, like halfway point to a hotel. We were almost there. My car had been we were in my car. It was kind of acting up. It was shaking a little bit. And so I was driving. Todd had drive. So I'm usually a fast driver, but I slowed it down. I got in the right lane because I was kind of worried about my car. It was really hot. It was kind of shaking. He was being an absolute asshole to me. Like, he was being such a backseat driver.
I was tired. I just wanted to get to the location.
And I was almost in tears because he was being so mean to me. So a couple of days go by. I think it was like a couple of days, and we get back on the board. And you were asking about like spaceships, some weird questions. Todd's obsessed with like UFOs. And you said, well, will you guys ever come pick us up in the UFO? And Lou goes, no. I don't want you speaking to us the way you spoke to Bryce. Absolutely not.
They said something about me being a backseat driver.
Absolutely not picking you up. Like, so they see.
But they don't have spaceships. We're not talking. People don't understand. These are aliens. No. It's ridiculous to think that these higher density beings are aliens. They're not aliens. They're just as human as us. But without the veil. They're only one step above us, which is a lot, because when you don't have the veil, it's like Lou would say, Lou knows all.
Who knows all?
It is absolutely mind-blowingly true. The things that we have gotten, the information that we have gotten that has come to pass is absolutely mind-blowing. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic, but they are hysterically funny. They curse like sailors. They'll be hard. They're tough love. Like, they're not light and love. Like, they tell you to work. They tell you to get up and do your work, do your dharma, do what you came here to do. No pussyfooting around. Like, you got to get up and you've got to do, and they tell us that they are here to support us because we are. And the funny thing is, they make fun of us because we're from sixth density and they're fourth density, and we're clutching to them for the love of God, because we can't remember shit. Now, with that being said, Todd, I wanted to kind of end on this. I know we're coming up at an hour, but I know this is probably juicy for our friends watching. Yeah. I've been teasing this on my channel, and it's only fair that you be the one to drop this tea, because we know from Lou too, that this is your dharma. This is your cross to bear. Let's just touch very briefly on the Cassiopaeans.
Oh, okay.
We're still gonna be reading from the Cassiopaeans here on my channel, guys. The Cassiopaeans, according to the law of one in the raw material, are what?
Service to self. Now, the thing about service to self, and I touched on this in my previous video, channeling service to self, which, I'm not interested in doing, but it's what Laura Knight and the Cassiopaean material is doing. They're channeling service to self.
Density. They're fourth density.
Well, they're both fourth density, but also
taking from sixth.
And so they're talking, the Cassiopaean material is being channeled through service to self, fourth density entities. And here's the thing. So you have to interface with sixth. Sixth has no reason, aside from wandering into third, sixth has no reason to be talking to third density channelers. You have to have an interface. And what I mean by interface is that you have to have a fourth density entity or social memory complex. When I say entity, either a fourth density service to self entity, because they don't really create a social memory complex. So either a service to self fourth density entity or a service to others social memory complex. You need to have contact with that to be able to contact sixth density. So you have to have what I've been calling an interface. You don't just pick up the phone and get a sixth density entity, because they're off in sixth doing their own thing, or they're here in third wandering. So
they want you to do your karma. They just go do your karma. Yeah.
Right. So with the Cassiopaean material, they're using a service to self fourth density entity to ensnare actually Ra, which is confirmed. So Laura is using a service to self fourth density entity to ensnare, because that's the way that the service to self fourth density do it, is they sort of entrap and force the sixth density entities through to channel. And the reason why they're doing that is because the service to self fourth density aren't creative enough to come up with the verbiage that could be used to trick people into thinking that it was service to others channeling. I know it's a little complicated, but that's just the way that it is. And so
I will say, though, I don't want to forget this. You have a screenshot of this, which I won't show it on this. You can show it on your channel, where the Cassiopaeans tell them at the
from the first channeling,
their service to self. They
ask, are you service to self or service to others? And they said, we serve self through others. That's the way. So you have to be careful with the wording here. And that's where you have to use your discernment. They just said their service to self through using others, through others. And so if they were service to others, they would just say, we're service to others. But the way that the service to self trick people is they use the way that they word it is because there's they could use confusing words. So at the end, you don't know what's up from down.
That's your problem, right? Like if you don't understand what they've said, they've told you the truth. That's your problem. Now,
right.
Todd, the thing about the Cassiopaeans as well is they will go on for hours with conspiracy theories.
Right.
And we know service to others doesn't do that, because conspiracy theories don't serve any good for anybody.
If I get into asking too many questions with Lou conspiracy theories, I either get hung up on, they'll just go goodbye, which is hilarious, or they just they'll remind you like this is unimportant.
This is not about you doing, conspiracy theories are meant to, as you say, they're meant to instigate you to go on a voyage of the self. Right. But the thing is all of this stuff that's going on in our world, this it's friction going on. It's going to happen. It's happening in every third density planet. This is what this is. This is a tug of war between two opposite polarities. This is just what this is. Right. And you knowing that, we'll say Billy Gates is a bad guy doesn't matter for shit with your own choices and consciousness growth. What matters is that you take your power back. You say no to things you don't feel comfortable with. You help others. It doesn't, knowing, and that's one thing I complain about the Cassiopaeans a lot with Laura, is like Laura does not understand spirituality at all. She thinks spirituality is studying academic stuff and knowing shit about the matrix, when that is not. That's delusional. That's taking you off of your course.
But you're right. And there's a certain amount you should pay attention to when it comes down to politics in your country, because the political environment within the place that you live is the environment you have to practice your spirituality.
Yeah.
You have to move through so in a sense, that's important to look into, to educate yourself on who's up for election and what they stand for, and to go out and to vote, and to have a specific political view that you feel serves others or serve self, depending on what your path is. I'm not going to judge here, although we could do without the service to self. But anyway,
I'm kind of judging.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but at the same time, so in that sense, yeah, you should pay attention and a little bit of local news to know what's going on. But aside from that, conspiracy theories should not involve us, or we should not involve ourselves in conspiracy theories, because we're not going to get anything out of that other than entertainment. Just say what it is. It's entertainment.
And that's why I read the Cassiopaeans now, for pure entertainment. It's not evolving my soul in any way. And I'm aware that's what it is. That even though the Cassiopaean is all service to self, it's true. Except for, we have an exception here. We know that Laura has changed some things, and you actually have receipts and proof of that.
Yes, I have Frank's original first. I don't know if it's 10 years, something like that, of channeling that he was doing with Laura at the time, and that's how Laura got her ability to channel, because Frank is the wanderer. Laura is just the native third density soul person that learned how to channel through Frank. Frank was the main channeler. So I have the original transcripts from Frank, and they have absolutely every single channeling session has been changed. And that's the thing. And so I want to cover some of the Cassiopaean stuff, because like Lou said, 70% of the Cassiopaean material is true, is factual, but only 2% is useful. And so and the most important thing to me that came out of the Cassiopaeans was organic portals.
Yeah.
That's it. You could toss everything else from the Cassiopaean material out. Organic portals is it. That's the most valuable thing the Cassiopaeans have given us. And the reason why they gave that material is because the Lizzies can't help. The fourth density service to self couldn't help but brag. That's what they were doing. They were look what we created. We'll tell you all about this. We're genius, And so that's. Yeah.
And I will say, in the Law of One, it does say that Cassiopeia is a fourth density service to self planetary. So it is in the Law of One.
And also another giveaway that their service to self is that every time they channel, it's someone new that comes that's coming on the board talking. If you're dealing with a service to others social memory complex, you're talking to all of them. The name never changes.
Yeah, it's just Lou. It's all it is. And so I know Laura, she changes things that I think she feels like make her look bad. Like she changed the whole RH negative stuff around. She changed that. That's not what that. And I've questioned Todd. Like it just seems like a freaking waste of time, because they do these sessions and they type it up and post it. Why not just film it and just post it filmed? But it's because she has to go back and change things. I believe personally, my personal opinion, she is service to self. Absolutely. End, full stop, end of story. I think she absolutely knows what she's doing. I think it's a cult. I can't get over some of the stories we see from that board, but she masks it, doesn't she, by saying, oh, no one's allowed to curse in here. I'm sorry, Lou curses all the time. They're fucking hysterical, right? They're hysterical, and they drop F-bombs. They talk to us the way in which, and if you're from another country, they probably do it in your language too. They talk to us in a way that's normal. Sometimes they misspell words. What did he say one time when he was talking about karma? Instead of saying karma's a bit, he said karma's a slut.
Yeah. And they're not crude. They're just funny. They're lighthearted, as lighthearted as you can be, and genuinely loving and caring. But at the same time, it's tough love. It's tough love.
It's funny.
It's serious when it needs to be serious, and it's funny and lighthearted when it needs to be, because sometimes it gets in deep, and it hits really deep. you
Yeah, I've
know?
never seen you cry as much on the board than because I've just been kind of there. It's been your therapy most of the
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
one time I said I was laughing with Todd and I said, "Okay, brah," like the surf bra, and he goes, "What's bra?" We had to explain what bra means and like our like bro, and so he kept calling Todd bra the whole time we were on the board, and so they'll talk to you in the way in which you understand how to talk.
Uh-huh.
And they don't, words are just words, and they're funny and they're lighthearted and they're tough on you, but they also, you feel their support when you need it. And they yeah. And so with Laura, it's very much it seems like it's dangerous. We will continue on my channel at least to read the Cassiopaean material just for shits and giggles because it's entertaining.
And there's important stuff there. Like you had said before, the fourth density service itself, they cannot infringe on our free will by straight up lying. And so there's a lot of information there that can help you gain, some understanding, about things happening politically, things, a little conspiratorial, for entertainment purposes, I guess.
Yeah,
There's
it's just entertainment. It's I don't like the way that Laura speaks. I'm just warning people because I know some people from my channel have joined the forum, and that's great. If you want it, that you do you, like that's your choice. But I just want to let you know that you don't deserve to be spoken to that way. The way that Laura speaks to people is not acceptable. It's one thing about being tough love. Like you and I, Todd, we come from India where people are mean all the time and teaching, and we're tough with our students. But we're coming
sure not mean.
stern. Yes, stern. We're stern with our students. But the way that Laura speaks to people, I would never talk to my students that way. I would never speak to somebody the way that she speaks to these to her people. Oh my God. Can we just bitch about ARC for a second? She gatekeeps questions. Like she tells people, I mean, it's so mean. Like people will send a question and she like bashes them for the
Right.
question they sent and won't ask it. So she's gatekeeping the
Right.
Cassiopeans. But
Wow.
then she lets her husband ARC ask
That's
all.
the most boring questions ever.
And as Lou said, it doesn't matter. The questions that he's asking are about quantum physics in our realm. It doesn't fucking matter outside
But
of
also, they could do that on their own time.
exactly.
I think they try to waste time when they could, and yeah, it's pretty frustrating.
Is
And
whenever Art gets his questions, I just kind of skim over it and skip it. So like this is not even important. It's not important and it's definitely not entertaining.
right,
And so I'm not cool with the way that she definitely doesn't take care of herself. She claims that her service to others is the Cassiopeans. Well, that's not really a service to others if you're gatekeeping them and changing the
right,
material. That's
right.
service.
And also, if you're getting sore from a 30-minute channeling session, then you probably should be taking better care of your body, because we could sit down and with the shape that we're in and channel for 2 hours and be absolutely fine
And
and
come
go
edit
about
a
our
video.
day.
Yeah.
And yeah, so in service to others, take care of yourself, take care of your body, and you'll be able to serve that much more, whether it be channeling or in other areas of your life. And so,
And
yeah,
Lou says the most important thing, he confirmed everything we say. The most important thing you can do to be a human being on this planet is to take care of your body, is to exercise, is to be in your physical experience. We were laughing at some of the interviews Laura's been doing lately because it's so awkward. I get secondhand embarrassment, Todd, when people do things sometimes, and it's so obvious she's trying to be Madame Blavatsky.
yeah, Blavatsky, absolutely, yeah.
All rings and it's like it's like, girl, just be yourself, like just be you, like don't try to be somebody
And
else.
Lou stresses that a lot. The most important thing is just to be yourself, be as human as possible. Don't try to be anything that you're not. And that's what this whole new agey movement stuff is all about, is trying to seem ultra spiritual and leave your body and it's just, Lou keeps reminding us, you just stay grounded in yourself, be as human as possible with all your flaws, and then you have somewhere to move from. But until you could drop into yourself, then you've got a lot more work to do. you know?
And I will leave the one of the biggest points that Lou made with me once after I got severely attacked one night. I don't really want to get into it, but it was bad. I remember that it was like a month ago or something.
Uh,
I didn't know if I was going to survive. It was an incredibly rough physical attack, and we had learned that it was a death spell. I've had these before put on me, and that I had survived because I called out for help. First of all, God, please help me. But then the second thing Glue said was that morning, after I really hadn't slept that night, but you got up and
uh,
I had purged so much that night that my stomach was like really flat the next day. And I like stood there naked and I was like, well, look how good I look now.
uh,
Glue had said that me doing that, making a joke, really disabled the Lizzies. And so
yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys that in my experience, if you can laugh at yourself, if you can make fun of a situation for what it is,
Regardless of how tough it was or is, then yeah, that lessens the negative effects of it. To
yeah, it
see,
totally disarms them. So that is one of the biggest clues that Lou had always ask for help when you need it,
uh-huh.
right? And when you can, just laugh at your situation because that is they can't laugh. The dark and listen, even with Laura, like I think they try to be funny, but they're not.
Uh-huh.
They're not funny. So just make a joke about your situation. And is there anything you want to say before we sign off? I really want people to go over to your channel and subscribe because you're gonna and Todd, why is it important for you to talk about all the drama with the Cassiopaeans?
Well, no, because I'm related to Laura Knight because
Yeah,
she's my
you're her
second
cousin.
cousin.
Yeah, Todd's a Knight as well. They both come from Jesse Knight. They're like second cousins. And so she kind of fucked up, didn't she?
Because she talks up our bloodline. Yeah. Uh-huh. Well,
Yeah. And
here's
she
the other on
talks
the
it
other
up.
side of it.
And she anybody who gives her opposition, she calls an organic portal. I'm waiting for us to be called organic portals,
Yeah.
but she talks up your bloodline, and so she can't call you an organic portal, can she? She fucked up.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
um, so anyway, but oh, one more thing before we sign off, I have to pat myself in the back. When I started reading the Cassiopaeans, can we just talk about this for a second? Because
Oh, let's just end it here.
you gave me shit because I kept saying I don't like this woman. I don't like this woman.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're the one that opened up my eyes to the cultiness of it, and also many other things, and so yeah, you get credit for helping me to see what was really going on there,
It was a
and
battle, you guys. I would come out, you guys would hear me filming, like you guys would watch the videos and you'd see how frustrated I get. Then I'd close the book or turn off and I'd go in the other room. I'd be like, what the fuck is that? And I would just go off about her. And you'd be like, well, she's had a rough life. Now that we've researched her, bullshit. She has had the easiest fucking life. She thought she was being spiritually attacked because she couldn't clean her pool.
right, her swimming pool, right, her swimming pool kept getting turning green. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I had forgot it had been like 17 years or more since I actually read her story and her books, and so it just hit different because I was younger and a lot more naive, and so I had forgotten the details of the stories that she told surrounding it, and so yeah, I was more concerned, and more into the actual like transcript channeling work, and so I think that allowed me to be hoodwinked a little bit. But once you started to point stuff out, and especially once we started to talk to Lou, and it was like the door all of a sudden swung wide open, and then I realized, oh yeah, I see what's going on here. Then digging into the original story of Frank, which is
You're
not
going to
his real
cover that.
name. Yeah, so getting into Frank and hearing the whole story, their side, both Vincent Bridges and Frank, the original channeler, once you read their accounts of how all of this went down, then you cannot deny, in my opinion, where Laura Knight is coming from. And so, the cat's out of the bag now for us, and hopefully for everyone else listening here, they'll start to use their discernment with the Cassiopean material, and yeah. So
We'll continue, guys. We're going to continue looking at the Cassiopaean material again, as I said, because they're not lying. It's entertaining, and I've tried to be. I can't hold back when I'm a wanderer. When
and
somebody,
it's the few legitimate channeling
yeah,
sources, because 99% of the stuff out there
is bullshit.
claiming to be is bullshit. And there are also a lot of flaws with the raw material. The same rules apply. I can't say that all the raw material is coming from service to self. I think it's a balance there. But we'll get into that later because
You're going to get into that. Just know that the Cassiopaeans, the connection to this group came from who's known as Frank. That's not his real name in the beginning. He is the wanderer. He is the one with the actual channeling ability that Laura imprinted and stole, in our opinion, from what we've seen.
Just like an organic portal would, but she's not an organic portal, but she sure did act like one in that situation.
And just know that with the raw material, it's Don Elkins is the
wanderer in the channel.
He deserves all the credit, even though he is no longer with us. I know you and I would like to go up to Kentucky and visit his resting spots to pay our respects to Don, because he is a wanderer who lost his life doing what he came here to do, to bring
and through attacks is why he lost his life. That was a wanderer. That was a wanderer they took out.
Yeah.
So,
and we know that he's back, and so he didn't have to go. He went back to sixth density. So we were going to go pay our respects to Don at some point in Kentucky, his resting place. But just know that there are legitimate wanderers that are behind this material, even though this material a lot of times gets confiscated by organic portals and service to self. It doesn't mean you shouldn't read it. Just have discernment. And if something feels wrong about the way somebody's speaking to you, it probably is. And if anybody from the Cassiopaean Forum is watching this right now, I am begging you to reconsider the cult that you are in. We're seeing people's, we still kind of lurk the forum, and people's health is declining. People are dying. Like, I am begging you to reconsider.
Some dark stuff is happening in the people that are in that inner circle, but let's not get into that right now too deeply.
Okay.
Let's say that for another time.
Well, speaking of, I know tomorrow, Todd, we are teaching what Todd and I do off of YouTube. We try to, our service to the world is through all of our education that we had in India. I do it now more through modern movements. You still traditionally teach at Ashtanga Yoga Atlanta. And I have Fusion Body Studio with a beautiful Paula over in Australia. I know you love, I told Paula, you're so weird about me partnering with people now because I've had so many organic portals attached to me. But when you first time you met Paula, you were like, oh, this girl's awesome. And it's been so great, hasn't it, working with Paula? She's amazing.
Yeah, I love Paula.
Paula's amazing. She's so kind, totally service to others. She's the sweetest human being you'll ever meet. Everything you see on her on camera is exactly how she is off of camera. And so I've opened up Fusion Body Studio with Paula. She's the brainchild behind this. This was her idea. She came to me about it. It was totally her idea. And I'm just grateful to have a platform to teach virtually for people. But with Fusion Body Studio, guys, we have tier 1, which is just exercises with Todd. Todd is doing, he's doing training, some yoga drills, and coming up, I'm not going to say too much about it, but we have a very special playlist. I can't wait to do with Todd, where you're going to actually get to see me teach Todd. So, and that will be, I'll get more into it. I don't want to say too much about it yet, but we're going to be filming that next week and putting that up. But this Saturday, what is happening on Saturday, October 11th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time? Todd, 2025.
I'm going to teach a Vedic chanting course.
A Vedic chanting course.
Basic Vedic chanting course.
So we have on tier 2 at Fusion Body, we also have workshops. Todd has a Vedic chanting course. We're pre-recorded on tier 2. But if you join us, he's going to be doing a live class with the students. We're going to post a PDF manual. And Vedic chanting really helps with the mind. It really helps. As we said before, you've said, Todd, the yogic philosophy is like, if we have the law of one, the yogic philosophy is like a manual on how to survive third density. And so it helps get your mind into gear. And you are one of the best. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in India. I've been around a lot of chanting. And Todd, as a white guy, is probably one of the best Sanskrit chanters. And I'm not being biased. Like, you seriously are one of the best Sanskrit chanters I've ever come across for a white guy. He's white. He's very white. So join us if you're part of Fusion Buddy Studio. Join us this Saturday for the 9 a.m. class. If you missed the class, we will put the replay up as soon as we're done up on the platform. That will be on the platform. If you want to join Fusion Buddy Studio, you can use Todd's discount code, which is AYA20, Ashtanga Yoga Atlanta, AYA20 for 20% off your first 6 months. You also get the first 7 days for free. So if you want to just try it, that would give you access into this Vedic chanting class with Todd. And yeah, make sure to follow Todd over on his channel, The Confused Wanderer. I'm also going to tag Ashtanga Yoga Atlanta, our website, down in the description box below in case you live in the Atlanta area and you want to practice with Todd privately or publicly here at our Mysore classes. And so, yeah, anything you want to say, Todd, before we sign out?
That's it.
Okay, well, I enjoyed it. I'm going to go fold the laundry. So
okay, sounds good to me. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Bye, guys.
See you.